Hello YouTube, welcome to Sunday in the Shop. We're filming this early because we figured it'd be worth including. We're going to put 3 legs on the bottom of our stove. Okay, here's 0 at the back, okay? Well, you divide 360 by 3, you get 120, right? See it over here? One leg will be like this. See this line right here? We'll have this turned there. We're going to have this marked first. And then we'll turn this right here where it says 120. See it? Over here. Then we'll have 240 over here. I think you can see it. If I get my pen, 240 over here. We'll have this thing lined up. We bumped it. Sorry about that. Then we'll come back to 360, which is to 0. So that we can see how I do it. So we'll put some Sharpie lines on here, or pencil, whatever we can find. We're starving for a Sharpie marker. We wear them out and we don't have one. But we want to make a perfectly straight line, the best we can through this thing, down centered on the stovepipe thing. It's not perfect, but we don't know what we're going to use for legs yet. We don't want to use bolts. It might just be rods shoved in a hole and brazed. 3 legs is a lot easier to line up. That's what we're going to use. We do not need 4. We're going to have 2 in the front, 1 in the back. So there we go. We thought we'd show you the basics of it. Okay, see my string line? See, this is what they did before they had lasers. Laying out the foundation of a building or what. You know, they used a string line. I'm being sarcastic. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's 3 leg. No one's really going to notice when you're looking at the stove. I'm trying to put this on my grid. My camera has 2 grid lines, one over here and one over here. So I'm trying to center the grid lines too. I use my camera to eyeball stuff. Good enough? Good enough. Like I said, we'll mark our 360. Remember, what's the first number? 3 into 360. Got 120, 240, and 360. I know it's elementary, but you can still get confused. I get confused, but it's nice to have a little toy like this to play with. This was really cheap at a hobby store years ago. I don't know if you can even find one, but just think, I've got some plastic templates too to draw like elliptical shapes, but look at all the little circles and stuff you have. And all them holes is, you're supposed to be able to put a pencil and draw a lot more precise, bigger circles. So there you go. I showed that in a lot of videos. Let's get to work. Okay, can you see through the plastic where it's 240? And there's the center. And then we'll measure this with our dividers. And we'll go here. It should be the same measurement to here. We'll probably do it along this little circle. Here to here, flip them over. You know what I mean. Our cut with our dividers. So we'll do that walking around the circle thing. So we're like a machinist. And that'll be close enough. I think you know what I mean. Let's get this job done. Does the door look smaller than the holder where I cut it from? We're going to take a break and do something else. We've had enough showing the stove and Sunday in the shop. But I'm really not going to make no parts of this because the first stove back there I made, 7 parts, and they did not get a whole lot of views. So it's kind of just updates here and there, and then you'll see when it's done. Did I show a sneak peek of the top in some video? I may show that before I leave today. We're going to make a little project here, so stay tuned. Okay, moving right along. It's a heat wave. It's supposed to be like about 44 degrees today. Today is Thursday, okay? Tuesday was the 7th? Am I right? I get lost. I don't know when I am. And let's just say it's the Thursday before the next Sunday in the shop you're watching. There, that makes it. We're going to make an incense burner. You know how we put the incense in there on the hanging on the ring, and we have a hole in the bottom? These are 8 ounce, or about 7.5 inches tall. I had a 6-pack of these gave to me. They're not really worth nothing. We want to put the hole in the back. Right opposite of Coca-Cola. Now I had a wine bottle, I had a water bottle, let's say. It's that Pierre or whatever water, and it was thick as a champagne bottle. It took forever to grind through. Now they make bits that you could put in your drill, but I'm going to use Dremel bits, which takes longer. And you still have to beware, some people do this under running cold water. I just take my time and put my thumb right next to the hole, so I know the glass ain't getting hot. So I'm just going to grind with little Dremel bits, so I'm not going to show that. So there's plenty of videos out there. Let's make one and get this thing fired up. This was rinsed. I think I see a little residue of pop, but I was going to say I had a really nice wine bottle, and I can't find it. And it got so crusty, and you see it in a few of my videos. It was so brown and dark and nasty, and because it was kind of more of a clear glass. So the darker the glass, the better it is. You don't see how nasty it is. Depends on what look you're after. So stay tuned. We'll be back when we get a hole ground in this thing. What a mess. I would say everything's needed. All my little paper cutouts and templates have been used on this stove. They probably end up being thrown in the garbage when I'm done, but I save them for now. Oh, I give a shout out to Magdad there. See? Okay, anyway, you would not know how nice it is to have one-handle screwdriver if you don't have one. I mean, I got all kinds of screwdrivers up. I need one to pry with, maybe tap on. Because I had cut this and everything. Here's a video on this to get this apart. But you talk about nice to pry and do stuff with. That's like over almost 5/16 diameter shaft. I've been using the you-know-what out of this thing. Prying and gouging it. It's a tool. But it is old. But I really been enjoying using it. It just feels better than plastic when I'm out here and you grab it. It is. It's just a little more comfortable. But no, I'm not going to baby it. It's better than what it was when I got it all rusty and crusty. So let's get to work. Too much talk. We don't want this video to be real long, but it doesn't matter. So that door looks small on there, but that's what I want. It'll work. The legs are kind of a trick. I had to hold them and spot weld them. I did without a helmet. I just, close your eyes and the stocking cap pulled down. And I had to bend the bottom of the stove. So I had to kind of tweak the stove a little bit, bending the leg in, had a pry bar on it, because you can't weld them on perfect. You got to weld them, then you got to kind of tweak them. So it's set straight. It's set straight. It might lean in the back a little bit. Little magnets sure come in handy. I can't tell you where I bought them. I bought them online somewhere. They have the countersink hole where you put a screw and put it on and into a piece of wood. They sure come in handy. Oh, this is an eye drop bottle. There's a magnet at the bottom. See that? Now, if you bang it like this, get the magnet to fall down here, some of the stuff will come off. So say you go like this. And then you could get the magnet to go back. This has been so handy with a wooden dowel and there with tape on it to pick up all my metal filings when I'm done cutting. Is there some over there? It's a pretty strong magnet. And they're tough. Remember the guy with the crazy glue with the hard hat glued to the steel girder on the skyscraper? Yeah, right. We're out of here for a moment. We'll be back. Not quite a 1/4 inch hole. I use 2 different bits. I use a real small round one, and I use like a longer one. Like I said, there's so many videos on doing it. There you go. We'll spin you around or watch the smoke come out here for a couple seconds. Just don't leave your house or building unattended. Leave that burn. Put it out. I actually wet my fingers and put it out if I'm going to leave. If it isn't burning all the way out. You know what I mean. I put it out. Spit on your fingers and put it out. Dip it in some water. It'll dry. Okay, we're going to take a little break. Then we'll figure out something to finish the video out with. Okay, we've been putting our door hinges on. We drill a little hole first, a little bit, and then we'll drill our 3mm, the size of the bolts. That way if you get off load, you can adjust it. We put our grate in here just in case the bolts be in the way. And we're putting these hinges on before we cut the door opening. It's making this a lot more solid and holds everything, because it's not going to be straight. It's hobo stove, but it's not going to be perfectly straight. You can look at it, you might think the door is straight, and it's not. And you can't get picky on that stuff. Good old zip ties on there. But I have pictures at the end how I cut out the outline and then put that over on the other tank so to get the door. This door is 2 1/4 inches tall, but 2 1/2 inches wide. Because when you put it on here, you wrap around. If you don't have it wide enough, wider than the tall, it looks too skinny. So I think you know what I mean, because it's wrapping around. So we may even put the handle on here too, the screw, where it's going to be before we cut this out. Because we have to cut out where the screws are, but we're using our little needle nose to hold these little nuts. At least till we get them started down in here. And we probably will cut the ones off on the left there for the door hinge, but the other ones that go through the stove itself, we ain't gonna worry about those. We'll probably shorten these little ones for sure. We'll just open the door and cut them off. I wanted the grate down in there just in case you couldn't fit it in there. Coming together. We'll think of something else before we go today. But this does take a lot of work. But that turned out just right. Okay, 3/4, 3/4, and 3/4. So 3/4, 3/4 is inch and a half. Okay, so you got 3/4 inches left to get 2 1/4. So that's evenly getting. The space is the same distance as the hinge, and they're lined right up on the very corner of the door. Focus. See that? From the very corner of the door, the best they can be. I gotta grind this nasty wall. We held these in spot wall. We need to grind it off. We're gonna put some kind of lever on here for our air intake throttle. But I think this thing will burn pretty hot for a small stove. I really do. Okay, back to work. I can spend a little more time on this. I keep wanting to show you my door. We'll show you that before we go, or our lid. We'll show you how we made the lid before we go today. That'll be the last thing. That's what you'll be seeing next. So we want to get this done. It's almost 5 o'clock at night. We've had enough. Oh, it's 48 degrees out right now. So this is Thursday today. The Thursday before you'll see this video on a Sunday. And we're supposed to have 2 to 3 inches of snow tonight in northwest Iowa, where I'm at, right near Sioux City. So in north, it could be over 1/2 foot, so we'll see. It's still supposed to warm up towards the weekend and melt it off. So back to work. Some people are gonna not like the weather report. Had people tell me that in videos. You need to skip the weather report. Well, that's just who I am. I do what I want to do. I'm not going to be sarcastic about it. I'll still be polite. You can do it. You can be polite. Don't be sarcastic. I know it's easy to fire back a nasty comment to somebody. If it's too nasty, I'll delete you. Okay, before we go today, we'll show you how we got the quarter in here. This is one of them big square outlet covers. Like, say you've got conduit and industrial building. You got your square galvanized box with your cover plate if you don't have an outlet in it. And there's a knockout plug in the center, which is weird. Maybe to put a switch in there or something. I don't know why they made them covers with a knockout plug. Anyway, this is what we did. We took the ridge of the quarter. You know that very ridge, right? This ridge. See that? We ground that off, right? And we did it at a bevel. So the ridge is still there on the other side, okay? So this is also ground at a bevel. So this side is smaller than the other side. Then we fit it in the hole. We put this washer on there to hold it and spot weld it. We're going to make this top removable. This quarter will still sit in here. It will wobble and see how it moves a little bit. Kind of interesting when we get this fired up what colors it'll change. But I figured I'd use one for the intake throttle blade. You know, it's hard to find these quarters. This is probably the 90s. It's getting hard to find these all-estate quarters. Quit blowing that out. That's what it's doing. The light is there. Sanded all different ways. I'm going to like this. It's going to have like 4 pieces of metal on here. Sticking up like this. And then it'll be like kind of bent out. So you can squeeze it together and shove this down in the stove. Then you can pop the top off and use it like a little mini barbecue. So I may make another grate for the top. So I can use it for like an open hobo stuff like you make out of the coffee cans. But yeah, these are getting kind of hard to find. I put my change in my desk drawer. And then what I used to do, and I should do, is once you had put it all in a container and give it to Salvation Army. You know, in the kettle. But if I forget, I always throw some paper money. But that's what I do with my change. I just throw it in a can or in my desk drawer, put it all together, and I'd go shopping and I'd find a kettle and pour it in. But anymore, I've been saving. I just put some paper money in. Okay, we're on it. We had enough. You can hear that rattle. Thanks for watching. I know the past few of these Sundays I've been working on the stove, but I try to mix something in there like the incense burner. So we're out here. We have had enough. We're going in the house and storing this in the laptop so we can get a video put together.